Welcome to the Face-to-Face. I'm your host, Genevieve Kyle-Lefebvre. The Face-to-Face is a bilingual series of video recorded here in Coquitlam. We acknowledge that Coquitlam is located on the ancestral and unceded territory of the Coquitlam. We thank the Coquitlam people who continue to live on these lands and care for them along what is above and below. Today on the Face-to-Face, I am with two lovely ladies, Heather Fox McCrindle and Becca Yu-Lewis from the Mom Talk podcast and the Mom Talk lunches. I have to say, I have helped co-founded this initiative with Heather, and we have started this in 2017. And let's go for it, Heather. So why did we start this initiative, and why we put those beautiful lunches together?
Yeah, so this is, oh my gosh, so long ago when our now almost 8-year-olds were babies. And so, yes, we were all visiting at the library with our little ones, doing the story and song times. And we were like, we need to get together. We need to do something, because that was lovely. But, you know, we needed a bigger space to be able to kind of have more of social time. And Karen, one of our mom friends, was like, Jen, you've got the perfect house for this. Like, let's all do it at your place. And so that's kind of where it started. And Jen was gracious enough to start hosting these amazing potluck lunches at her place. And it started to grow and kind of work its way out there. The word got out that it was all happening. And we, you know, were online on Facebook and letting everybody know. And it wasn't about, you didn't have to be friends. It was like, spread the word. We want to get out this message out to as many moms as possible, because motherhood, once you have that newborn, once you have those, you know, baby stages, it can feel very isolating and very lonely at the beginning. And we want it to be like a nice, safe place where women could go no matter what they were going through, whether, you know, I remember, first of all, like Hudson, oh my goodness, his sleep was everywhere. And I'd be like, I'm coming, but he's still sleeping. And it was okay. It didn't, like, I didn't need to be there at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. And it was nice to, because so many things are scheduled. And like, I remember missing so many things, but this was so nice that you could show up when you needed to, and you were welcome no matter when that was. And kind of moms, it was that open door kind of policy, and, you know, whether, you know, some moms were coming and some moms were going, and we would see each other kind of, it was pretty much weekly, wasn't it? It was, yeah, it was very regular. It was so long ago, gosh. But it was so nice. You know, you just could come in, whether you were exhausted or covered in the spit up or whatever. You know, you'd plunk your baby down on the nice big carpet, and we just kind of hang out around the kitchen island, sit around the couch with all the little ones. I mean, this is where Hudson created his first friendships that he still is in contact with today. And I'm still friends with many of these moms today. And it's making lifelong friendships. And I mean, it was just a no-brainer that these lunches had to start, and I'm so glad we did it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we started in the Tri-Cities.
Yes.
Because most of the moms in that group were in the Tri-Cities, but we were open to anybody around.
Yep.
And our vision was really to not leave any mom behind.
Yes.
I think motherhood, even I think we're all very social, but I felt really alone when I had my babies, because all of a sudden all my friends were working. So the friends are working, and you think at 4 o'clock in the morning, you're the only one alone. And that beautiful group of women that started with like 6, 12, 50, 100, 600 people were coming and waiting to come to those lunches.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember, because Becca, you joined just about in COVID time, and she was supposed to come to the lunch, and then it got canceled because of COVID.
Yes.
And also during that time, United Way was stepping in and wanted to start helping us with those mom lunches, because it was getting so big. And obviously, if it gets big, there's a need. And then COVID happened, right? So the lunches got on pause. And now one thing we want to do is we've talked to the moms, and we want to start a series of mom lunches that is free. And we're working with the Library of Coquitlam. So we're local Tri-Cities, but all moms are more than welcome. And I think we'll be talking a little bit longer about those mom lunches, but our initiative starting again, and
Yes.
we want the moms to get together.
Bringing them back. That's
And
for
I'm
sure.
really excited because it'll be my first one.
That's
It will be your first one.
It'll be my first one because I've never been able to come. Yeah, because I moved here in 2018 looking for community, and the Tri-Cities was where I was really seeing that there was a community, there was a family-oriented feel, and what I was hoping for was to meet other moms, and I was the first out of my friends to have kids. It was lonely. You know, all my friends are still going out for dinner. I'm like, do you want to go for dinner at 8 o'clock? I'm like, well, that's past bedtime. So that wasn't going to happen. And then moving here, definitely felt a big sense of community, connected with you two. And it didn't quite fully connect until literally right before COVID. I want to say it was March. So I said, yes, I can finally make it. I can finally make it. I got it in my calendar. And then the week before,
Yeah, we had to cancel.
yes. Yeah, but we stay connected.
Yeah.
So then, just things started happening.
Yeah.
So it was great to still have a community even during those times, because that was always hard. I think hard for a lot of people.
So we did meet on Zoom. I think there was few meetings on Zoom.
we did a few online.
And then after this, we paused because it was difficult. People needed to be in person, and it was difficult with babies, no vaccinations. You know, we didn't want to get into this vaccination conversation. I know that we can talk about it for a long time, but it's complicated. We couldn't manage that.
No.
So, we had to pause, and now we're happy to start again. With United Way also, we have to mention
Yes.
them. So in collaboration with Coquitlam Library and United Way, we'll be able to start those mom lunches again. Okay, so this is about the mom lunch. Now, out of this beautiful community of moms, a podcast was created.
Yeah.
And why did we create that podcast?
I remember it was after one of those mom lunches that you came to me and you're like, I have this idea and I think you would be the perfect person to help me with this idea. And you told me all about this podcast idea and I was like, that sounds amazing. I love it. I'm on board. And so that's what we did. We jumped on board to kind of create this series where we could invite expert guests and as well as having moms, parents come on and tell their own personal stories. And it be a way for moms to get these bite-sized little pieces of information, stories, everything that they needed to know and to make it accessible, because in a world full of information, it's also hard to know where to get good information. And we wanted to do that is provide that nice, reliable, quality information. So we were really good about getting very high quality guests and then having amazing, true stories from the moms and parents that did come on and share their heart to hearts kind of stories as well. And being able to do that for the moms was an amazing thing because again, we needed more help. And this was a way to yet grow the village even more. I mean, yes, the moms that were here, we had our own set of expertise. Some moms, had older children and some moms were brand new moms. And so we always had that. But to be able to expand it even more and give more information was just such a blessing. And
At any time of the day, right?
Exactly.
Because we didn't sleep for so long.
Yes.
So you needed a podcast, you
So
need
a
to listen at
podcast,
4 a.m. on breastfeeding, on postpartum
naps.
depression, on car nap. Which car seat am I going to buy? What else? Well, Becca is our speech and language pathologist. So we met you also through your expertise.
Part of how I ended up joining.
And then Becca fell in love with us.
Yes. I was like, well, okay, can I join? Like, can I be a part of this group? Yeah, so joining in as one of the guest experts really gave me an opportunity to help share and give back to the community that I was developing relationships and growing as part of. And then it was amazing to see all the different content and to be a part of that type of project, to give back to our community, and give moms that information, like I said, those bite-sized pieces of information so that they always had something at their fingertips and they can rely on a trusted source.
Exactly, because I didn't have time to read books.
No.
And then
Reading was out of the table for my...
I was not
just
picking up
Dr.
books.
Google.
And Dr. Google is just, oh my gosh, that goes down the rabbit hole. So knowing that we had these trusted guests, it was just such a good thing to be able to go back on again. Like I remember even through stages, like if our kids were at a certain age when we had certain guests, but then 6 months later, I'm like, oh, I need to go back and listen now because now we're going through that. And what did that expert say? And what
Yes.
did...
Yes, and I think something we really worked hard on is to inform ourselves before the problem presents itself.
Yeah.
Because if you have the information, you start seeing something and you're like, no, I know about this, and I can nip it right away instead of waiting until the problem is full blown. Like there's a lot of different tips, even to start seeing like your child can develop a little bit of anxiety or all kind of different like speech, different little patterns that can happen, then you know where to go. Or we know the bum scooting, like for the little ones, there's all kind of different things that can happen if you know about it, you're aware about it. And we wanted to inform the moms.
Yeah. But also not even that it as a problem to fix, but just to feel normal.
Oh, yes.
Like so many moms go through things and they're like, oh, my child's doing this. Is that okay? Is that normal?
Yes.
Like you get this like sense of like, I don't know, none of my friends' kids are doing this. Like, is that okay? Like, and to just have that reassurance. No, it's normal. It's totally fine. It's age appropriate. You might not see it in 100% of children, but it's normal. And it was really nice and very reassuring.
Or knowing that there is information out there. It's like, okay, this isn't
right,
but I know where to go. I know where to go. I was saying, I almost have a teenager, so I'm like, it's gonna start going back to those episodes of like, okay, he's almost a teenager, so what am I looking forward to in the next couple of years? What do I gotta keep an eye out?
Yeah, totally.
So there's a big milestone that just happened. I think you guys, I have to include myself, we celebrated 200 episode.
Yeah.
And that comes probably with thousands of hours that came in the work of this. And I can say that I have spent myself a lot of hours editing, and we spend a lot of time finding guests, you name it.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about that milestone?
Very proud.
Yes.
It's definitely a proud moment. It's, to think we started just, with literally gathering a few parents. And when Jen and I first started, we had the babies upstairs and some of the mamas were volunteering to help watch the babies so we could be downstairs recording. And to think like that's how we started, and to think like we've had guest experts literally from around the world come join us as well. And to be able to celebrate 200 episodes, like that's amazing.
Do you remember, Heather, when we had an interview with Sean Groover in New York City, and as we were recording, we had to figure out how to record over the phone back then. And as we're recording, we can hear the siren, we can hear but he's just such an amazing guy that's just a giver that wants to help all over the globe. And so I have to say though, it's amazing we could help people, but it helped me so much.
Yes.
Because we're in it, we're meeting the people, we're consuming our own content.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
100% made me a better mom, for sure.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah. What the most valuable thing I received was the fact that I was introduced to all these amazing people.
Yes.
That's invaluable. It's just oh my gosh, amazing.
So all those experts, if someone's find Mom Talk and they want to know where can they find those experts? There's a lot of local experts from the Tri-Cities.
Yeah.
Can you name us some of them? Or
Yeah.
Sonia Braid.
Sonia Lattimore Braid,
Probably one of my favorites because she's local. So we've been able to connect with her for the podcast and really have her share her knowledge and wisdom with us, but then also be able to then have those resources in our own Tri-Cities community, because her clinic, Bright Start, is just located right in Port Moody. So, you can hear the content on the podcast and then actually go seek out the experts to be able to, get information for your own specific questions and things like that. And I think that's, invaluable.
Yeah. Definitely.
we had the lady from Strawberry Sunshine. We had a lady from
Narita.
quite a few people.
Yeah.
Narita. We had the lady from
Krista,
Playworks.
Playworks is a big one.
Oh yeah, Playworks
We've had her
Kate.
physio.
Kate Hayes. She's been on a couple of times. Krista Parr, who's the nutritionist. She's here in Coquitlam as well. And she actually worked. And Bridget. Bridget Miller. Yeah.
Great expert. Parenting expert.
Yes.
And the list is long. So
it is.
Yes. So it's great to have beautiful. I think our vision was to be a local podcast, and it took us a little bit around the globe, which is It was a great surprise.
Yes, definitely. I mean, the fact that people were hearing about us and reaching out to us and saying, hey, we want to be there to support that community as well is just phenomenal. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So now tell me, I know we have a lot of favorites, okay? But maybe can you pick one and tell me why? Because we can share a little bit about our own stories because we have already shared about our own stories.
Oh, yes.
Who wants to go first?
I guess
Go
I
ahead.
can, sure, yeah. Yes, it was kind of funny. As we went through all the guests, I would always have something to relate, some story to relate with most of our guests. But this particular guest, I related to her definitely when she was on with us, but even more so after my second child. After Madeline was born, I suffered from severe postpartum depression, really bad. And when Joelle Brandt came on, she was here to tell us about her book, which was Parenting with PTSD. And the stories that she shared about her journey through postpartum resonated so much with me and helped me feel not so alone when I was going through some really dark times. And so it was interesting because when she was on, I was able to connect with her because I actually had a very traumatic birth with Hudson. I had preeclampsia and all sorts of things. I reacted poorly to the epidural and I crashed and lots of crazy things happened. So very traumatic kind of birth with Hudson. But after he was here, I was fine. After Madeline was born, I lost my mom a week after she was born. And postpartum depression hit about 6 months in, and I was not doing well. And so that was definitely a podcast that stood out to me and came back, and I was able to re-listen and connect with it. And so thank you, Joelle, for sharing your vulnerability and helping me out when I was going through a really hard time.
I think we learned that through the podcast.
Yeah.
Through our sharing,
Yeah.
we're helping way further than we could ever imagine.
Yeah.
Ever imagine.
Yeah. And that was my thing. Like, I am an open book. You'll get to know me very well if you listen to the podcast. So
Yes.
I share a lot.
We did. Well, yes, but that's the idea of it,
Yeah, that's
right?
the idea,
Yes.
to be able to share ourselves as well. And she was definitely a guest that ended up coming back and helping me again that way.
And then I guess you listened to the podcast more than once.
Yes, exactly. I was able to go back, and she also very generously gifted us her book, so I'm being able to refer back to that. It was a series of stories from a whole bunch of mums and parents that were parenting through PTSD. So yeah.
You know, I love also one thing is a lot of moms, because you know when you're on mat leave, you don't make the same salary, so financially it's more difficult. And to go and meet some of the expert was not in the cards. So there's not something the moms could do. So we did the job for them. And I remember, I don't know if you remember, Heather, that I think it was a lady at Playwork Physio that told us that a mom listened to local mom podcast and they were wondering what's happening with their little ones. The little one was not hitting their milestone in like walking, rolling, like all the milestone was way off. And from the podcast, listening about the milestones where they should be at, they realized there's a problem.
Yeah.
So that person took their child to Playwork Physio, local here in the Tri-Cities in Port Moody. And after assessment, they realized that it was a lack of, I can't remember which vitamins, but the child was very deficient in one of the vitamins, and that was the reason why. So he got admitted to the hospital, and he was able to get treated and have no long-term effects, consequences of that problem. But if the mom didn't listen to the podcast and realize this, it could have like a long time permanent effect on the person. So that's one of the story that I'll never forget, because you launched this out there and all the work we did. So if only for one child we saved, you know, like I know there's many of them, but only for one, it's so worth it.
Oh, completely.
And for you, Becca, tell me which podcast?
This is a hard one, and I keep going back to a few different ones, and actually one think the one we did with Deborah when she launched her book, Nourished, when talking about feeding. And that's always been an interesting topic for me because I do feeding therapy. I've had very interesting experiences with my kids in feeding. I had one very, very good eater, and then one kid that survived on air.
You never understand it.
No, I mean, we raised them pretty much the same. They were fed the same things. They were offered the same things, but they were so different. And Deborah, McNamara, she's amazing. She's so generous with her knowledge, and she's always been amazing, a guest of ours. That one in particular really stuck out with me because it helped me in multiple hats for me. It helped me as a parent, really see food differently in a way. We always think about feeding the kids, making sure that they have their nutrients, but like this was about connection. This was about connection, less so than the food itself, but the connections that we were building with the kids, building with our own kids, building with our family. It really transcended beyond the kids. It was really talking about all our relationships and how that relationship with food was, such an integral part of that. And then I was able to then share that instead of looking at, because I look at picky eaters and problem feeders, then it's, how do I share that information to almost, like, it really helped calm a lot of parents that I was working with, because it's like, okay, it's okay that all they eat is chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
What are you building in terms of your relationship with your child? Let's take away some of the stress from this, and we will get there. We will get there, in terms of what they will eat, but how about we make sure that that relationship stays intact and continues to grow and build. And Deborah's book and just her discussion with us over that podcast, it's just that really resonated with me and it stuck with me.
Did you use it also in your personal?
For sure, yeah.
And at work?
Yeah. I mean, I do share with parents that I work with that book, and it's like, this is a very different framework than what we're talking about, but it's something really important to keep in mind. We're not just trying to fix what the problem is, because it isn't really a problem. I mean, but we're trying to make things a little bit easier and simpler for families so that there's a wider variety, that we don't get worried about our child nutrition. Like you said with the other example, nutrition is important. Having certain vitamins are really important, but we can't lose sight of that connection that we're building with the kids, with our own kids, and with our family. Food really is how almost every society shows love, and culture shows love and care, and we have to really keep that in mind.
Yes, in connection, of course.
Yeah.
So we decided at one point to introduce Les Parents Parlent, which is a French section of our podcast.
Yes.
And why did you guys think it was a good idea? I think people know I'm the bilingual person here. We use our inside talent, but I had to enroll you guys into this idea of we have to let's do something for the French community.
Yeah.
Local to the Tri-Cities.
Yeah, well, of course, with you being Francophone, I mean, it was such a great opportunity to be able to now share the wealth with even more Canadians, and even to build that French community of parents here in the Tri-Cities. And there's not a lot of resources in French, and especially when we had started the French part. So yeah, this was just such a great opportunity. And then Jen, you'd be able to connect with so many amazing French experts as well, French speaking experts. And, just to be able to bring that in was just up-leveling the podcast for sure, and just being able to reach more people. So why not? It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think at one point I was looking for French content.
Yeah.
Because French is my first language.
Yes.
So sometimes you kind of want to make sure you understand, and I couldn't find anything locally. And I brought it up to you guys, and they were like, yep, let's do it. And then that was another little division of our podcast and helping more moms.
Yeah.
And I think, there is a strong French community here in the
Yes.
I don't speak French. I help with the help of ChatGPT. But, I'm always a huge advocate for being able to speak more than one language, what that does for our language abilities, for the kids and everything. So I was definitely, on board with that, and knowing that our community here, we have a strong French community here in the Tri-Cities, but being in BC, it's not a huge community, not what you're used
Nope,
to.
I know.
When growing up, and so being able to support that, and our other national language, we've got two in Canada, so it's important to be able to support the mums and all the parents out there for that.
Yeah.
So what's your message for the moms out there that are feeling alone, that are wondering like, this is worth it? This is difficult, especially the first, I mean, for me, it was specifically the first year, but I know like sometimes like behavior problems comes and then some child get diagnosed with all kind of different things, ADHD or whatever can happen. And it is not easy. For me, it was the first year I felt was more difficult. But what's your message out there for moms that are struggling, and what do you think they should be doing?
I think, the first year is probably the loneliest, unless you somehow plan it with your friends or meet a very lovely group of women and moms very early on. And, those classes and things that we have, it is a very lonely journey unless you reach out, and I think that's hard for a lot of moms, is to let that village help. Because I think everyone wants to help.
Our society also has programmed us to, you shouldn't ask for help.
Right, exactly.
And it's okay to ask for help.
And when you're a mom, you have to ask for help. And you have to accept it.
Yes, take the help. It can be a lonely journey. For me, actually, it's been since my kids were 3 and on. So it's been more difficult. That's when they stopped sleeping. I was a well-rested mom until my children turned 3.
And then that's right. So you have sleeping problems.
So,
right?
but I was no sleeping problems as babies. It's when they each turned 3. So, and it's now they are 5 and 7, 5.5 and 7.5, almost 8. And now we're sleeping through the night. I can say for the last 3 or 4 months.
Okay, so that's a long.
It's been a long few years, I tell you. Holy moly! I get to sleep in my bed by myself again. Yay! Without children.
I know the climb.
But it's been a journey. But for me, the first year was actually okay. But I know for many it wasn't. I was like, okay, I know something's going to be coming for me later.
But there is that though, right? At every part of the journey, there's something, and you're looking around like, is it just me?
Is it just? I know.
Is it just?
And there are different seasons, and and some will be more difficult for some, and like we don't have a lot of family around at all, so definitely having the moms community in the village to reach out to, like. Holy moly, like when I had Madeline, Jen was one of the amazing friends that stayed at the hospital with me overnight.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Stayed overnight. I'm there. Overnight.
And I mean, and there was another time where I was at the hospital when I was pregnant with Madeline, and they were like, you're not allowed to leave, your blood pressure's up. And like, I had to get parent picking up Hudson and bringing them to Jen's so that Bruce could, like, it was like this crazy thing. But I can't imagine going through like all the things that I did through my pregnancy and the appointments without that amazing group of friends and moms. Like, it was invaluable. Like, holy moly.
I think there's girlfriends.
Yeah.
And then there's mom friends.
And then there's mom friends. That's exactly
mom friends, right?
Mom friends.
And we always need more mom friends. So ladies, when is the next Mom Talk lunch? So the ladies out there that are listening can come and meet us.
It's coming up very soon.
My first one is coming up.
I know, right? So what's the date? When is it? What time?
Sunday, October the 20th. And it is from
12:30. 12:30 till 3.
To 3. At the Poirier Library.
Yes, Poirier Library here in Coquitlam. And we cannot wait to see the ladies. And we've got some amazing door prizes and some little gift bags for the moms. And of course, we'll have a nice spread of yummy treats for you all. And so excited to connect with everyone again. So
excellent.
Yes.
So other than the Mom Lunch that's continuing, what's the hopes in the future with the podcast and the Mom Lunches? What else?
Well, the mom lunches, we're hoping to also be able to facilitate other moms taking initiative to host these lunches, because through the generous Coquitlam Library, we have a space secured to be able to do this. So it doesn't have to be out of somebody's home, which is so nice to know that we're able to secure the space. Then we could literally do them monthly if moms are interested. So we'll definitely be looking out to some moms if they're interested in, taking it on to host their own mom friends as well, and continue it on that way. We are here to help facilitate and help you along that journey to continue those lunches. And then,
Create a legacy, right?
definitely.
Just
yes.
make it keep rolling.
Continue to grow the community.
Yes.
Grow. Yeah.
Grow our Tri-Series community, keep growing those guest experts. There's different, I don't know, call it generations, but there's different groups as as you've got your babies, right? We've got a new generation of mums coming with all the babies. And then we've got those with toddlers and preschoolers, and then there's the school age kids, and we've got kids probably like aging into adulthood as
Well, some of our guests, when they were here as guests, almost 8 years ago, right? They had little kids, and now they do have kids graduating.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. It's nuts.
So creating that community so that everyone can find their aha, or their friend and that mom friend that they need. If we can help continue to grow that community here in the Tri-Cities, I think that would be an amazing legacy.
Excellent. Where can we find your podcast?
Well, of course, on every podcast platform as well as YouTube. So
Excellent. And what is your website?
It is mom-talk.ca.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much, ladies. From the Tri-Cities Community Television and myself, Genevieve Kyle-Lefebvre, thank you for joining us today.